Welcome to another nonfiction book review. In case you don't know, I'm Dave Ringo. If you're a Doctor Who history buff like me, or a book collector, these reviews are designed for you. I'll be taking you through every historical or reference book ever made on the subject of Doctor Who, so that you can decide which ones you want to get. Or, if you want to get them all, which ones are out there. If that sounds appealing to you, I invite you to subscribe. Appearing in the scanner today, AHistory, an unauthorized history of the Doctor Who universe by Parkin and Lars, Pearson, 4th edition, which just came out, Volume 1. It's the first of 3 volumes. Now, about the authors. Parkin is a British author who has written professional Doctor Who fiction since the 1990s. He was notably the first author to write original prose for the 8th Doctor in The Dying Days. He was also the author chosen to deliver the, I guess you could call it 35th anniversary story, The Infinity Doctors, and the final volume in the 8th Doctor Adventures range, The Gallifrey Chronicles. More recently, he has written for the 10th Doctor in the book The Eyeless. He's further notable for his work with Big Finish Productions, where he is arguably most known for writing the 6th Doctor adventure, Davros. Lars Pearson is known for writing many non-fiction books related to Doctor Who, including the I Who volumes, which are guides to the audios and novels of Doctor Who. And he's co-author of many of the books in the About Time series. He's the owner of Mad Norwegian Press, which publishes reference guides to TV shows, many of them about Doctor Who, including the present one. The press was founded in 2001. He lives in Des Moines, Iowa. The book describes itself as an effort to place every event referred to in Doctor Who into a consistent timeline. It is, you might say, a continuity-focused text. The list of Doctor Who stories that it includes is very broad. All the stories in the TV series and all of the spin-off series, as well as the related direct-to-video films, audio plays, novels, and comics. This amounts to over 2,500 stories. The amount of research done here is impressive. The authors, Parkin and Pearson, are very quick to emphasize that their presentation is not definitive or official, that it is essentially, they say, a game, not a scientific endeavor to discover the right answer. The book was first published in 1994 as a 128-page, spiral-bound, fan-produced book called The Doctor Who Chronology. Then as A History of the Universe by Virgin Books in 1996. After that, it was picked up by Mad Norwegian Press, retitled AHistory, an unofficial history of the Doctor Who universe, and a second edition came out in 2006. A third edition was released in 2012, and now we have this one, the 4th. The information has grown to such an extent that it now has to be split into 3 volumes. This is Volume 1, Volume 2 is due to be released in December, and Volume 3 in March. I have always been interested in chronology, not just with Doctor Who, with everything. But it just so happens that I myself planned to do a book called Doctor Who Chronology back when I was a youngin'. I wrote to John Nathan Turner, the producer of Doctor Who, to inquire about how I might be able to get published. And he referred me to BBC Books. I saved a copy of the letter. Here's what it says. Dear David, thank you for your letter, which I passed to the head of BBC Archives for his consideration. Do you have a license for this project from BBC Books? Yours sincerely, John Nathan Turner. And then I got a letter after that from BBC Books. I did not actually write to them. And here's what they wrote to me. Let's see. Dear Mr. Ringo, Doctor Who, John Nathan Turner has passed to us a copy of your letter regarding the Doctor Who chronology which you are writing. To explain the second paragraph of John Nathan Turner's letter, before anything may be published relating to Doctor Who, the publishers require a license from us. I would therefore suggest that when and if you find a publisher for your work, you ensure that they approach this office, and we will then enter into an agreement with them. We wish you much luck in finding a publisher for your book. Yours sincerely, Wendy Spielman, Contracts and Permissions Assistant. I never ended up doing the book. Partly because I got involved in other things, and partly because I began to doubt its viability on continuity grounds. I'm glad Lance and Lars finally did it. I think they did an amazing job. The book opens with a table of contents, which is in fact not a table of contents. It's a misnomer. It's an index. A table of contents has the contents of the book listed in page order. This is not in page order. An index lists them in subject order, and that's what we have here. But it's not a subject index, it is a story index. There is a regular index in the back of the book, which is more full. But yeah, this is an index too. The book is actually arranged in chronological order. It goes by years, and in the beginning, it goes by eras, periods, whatever you want to call them. And this first volume goes from the dawn of time all the way to the present day. This one goes up to 1962. There is a Dorian Gray section in the back of the book that has its own chronology, if you're interested in that. All right, now the pros and cons of the book. A book that lays out every single Doctor Who story in chronological order is a super handy reference work. I mean, not many people would put this kind of effort into a book, and that deserves to be rewarded. I know I will be consulting this many times in the future. It gives an excellent bird's eye view of all the adventures. But I should add that the book is based on a couple of faulty premises. At the beginning of the text, Parkin and Pearson lay out the principles by which this book is organized. Now, many of these principles intuitively make perfect sense. Some I don't agree with, but that's okay because, as they said, this is not the official or definitive work on the subject. But the first two principles upon which they base this book are directly contradicted by the TV show itself and many of the other stories. Let's take a look. All right, principle number 1. Every Doctor Who story takes place in the same universe unless explicitly stated otherwise. Do you know what's wrong with this premise? No? Well, then I will tell you. The Doctor has told us that with every choice a person makes, a new universe is created. That is why we have parallel universes. So with each interference of the Doctor in history, a new universe is created. I went into this in more detail in my podcast, Fast Return Switch, and we'll address it here on YouTube soon. But suffice it to say, we cannot assume that every adventure takes place in the same universe. Parkin and Pearson try to address this objection by pointing to cross-references between adventures, but cross-references at most prove only that some universes are similar to each other. They don't demonstrate that we are in the same universe. Their second basic principle is even more clearly out of keeping with Doctor Who mythology. The universe has one true established history. Nothing, short of a being with godlike powers, can significantly change the course of history with any degree of permanency within that universe. They are suggesting that the Doctor cannot change history to any significant degree, even though we are shown quite clearly countless times that the Doctor can. Are we to assume that when the Time Lords asked the Doctor to stop or delay the creation of the Daleks, that this was never really possible? That when the Doctor says he delayed the development of the Daleks by 1,000 years, he was either lying or misinformed and in fact delayed them 0 years? Fixed points in time are shown in the show to be exceptions, not the rule. So this principle is contradicted directly by the show, and I cannot accept a universe with this history. No such universe can exist in Doctor Who. Now that doesn't mean I don't find this book valuable, because it still is nice to have the adventures in chronological order as a reference. For that reason, I still believe this is an important book for a Who fan to have on their bookshelf. The layout looks great. This press does a good job with that. These smaller independent book publishers like Mad Norwegian Press or Obverse Books or these other ones here, T-Loss, they don't have the kind of cash that one might need to license actual BBC copyrighted imagery and so forth. So you'll never find like images from the show or anything like that in these books, and they have alternate artwork and so forth. But that doesn't mean the book isn't great, and this one is fantastic. If you'd like to get it, I've put a link to it in the description below the video. Do you have this book? Or any earlier version of it? What do you think of my criticisms? Let me know in the comments. I'll have another book review coming in a few days. If you'd like to be notified when I post it, please click on the bell next to the subscribe button. And until then, I'm Dave Ringo, wishing you safe travels in time and space.